He was the life of the party, the smile that lit up millions of screens. But behind the scenes, something wasn't right. When Stephen "tWitch" Boss was found dead in a motel just a mile from his home, the world was stunned. But what if that wasn't the whole story? What if the final message he left behind, one that Ellen DeGeneres reportedly never wanted you to hear, holds the key to a much darker truth? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on Twitch's final days, the whispered connections to Hollywood's biggest names, and the rumors that Ellen's sudden disappearance wasn't just a coincidence. Because the deeper you dig, the more disturbing it gets. On the surface, it looked like a regular Tuesday. But what Stephen "tWitch" Boss did that morning would raise more questions than anyone expected, and it still does. He left home quietly. No goodbyes. No explanations. He didn't take his car. He didn't bring his phone, at least, not in any usable way. He had switched it to airplane mode, making it untraceable. All he carried was a small bag, a change of clothes, and a firearm. Then he called an Uber. His destination? A quiet, low-profile motel just 1 mile from his house, the Oak Tree Inn. He paid $107 for a single night in room 249 and disappeared behind a closed door. Hours later, he was gone. Allison, his wife, reported him missing soon after. She told police he wasn't answering his phone and that leaving without warning was completely unlike him. And she was right, this wasn't just unusual. It was deliberate. The official report called it a suicide, but the internet wasn't buying it. Because for someone described as full of life, love, and energy, the story didn't add up. Why a motel so close to home? Why no note, at least not one released to the public? Why did mourners at his funeral have to sign NDAs? And most chillingly, what was in the message he left behind that Ellen allegedly didn't want anyone to hear? For years, Ellen DeGeneres was seen as untouchable, America's sweetheart, the face of kindness, laughter, and inclusion. Her show was a cultural phenomenon. Celebrities lined up to appear on her stage. Fans believed she was the same cheerful person off camera. But behind the curtain, something else was happening. In 2020, the illusion cracked. Former employees and guests came forward with disturbing stories, intimidation, fear, and a toxic work environment. Ellen was accused of turning a blind eye or worse, participating. Her carefully curated image began to crumble. During the scandal, Ellen needed damage control. So she leaned on someone who embodied positivity, Stephen "tWitch" Boss. He was promoted to executive producer, praised publicly, and made the face of her redemption arc. But behind his smile, many now believe Twitch was deeply uncomfortable. Watch the footage from her on-air apology. He's there, silent, supportive, but his body language says more than words ever could. And it didn't stop there. Insiders claim that Twitch became increasingly entangled in Ellen's private world, including exclusive Hollywood parties thrown by Diddy. These weren't just networking events. According to whispers, they were filled with secrets. Secrets Twitch was never meant to see. In the months leading up to his death, those close to him said he changed. He grew distant. He confided in his wife that people he once trusted were no longer who they claimed to be. That he was being pressured to stay silent. That even Ellen wasn't the person the world thought she was. He tried to pull away, but some believe he never got the chance.
Everyone is in pain and trying to make sense of it, and we never make sense of it. And the holidays are hard, I think, anyway. But to honor Twitch, I think the best thing that we can do is to laugh and hug each other, and play games and dance and sing.
After the news of Twitch's death broke, the world was stunned. But what followed wasn't just grief, it was confusion. It was silence. And then, it was fear. Police confirmed that Twitch left behind a note. But unlike most final letters, this one wasn't about closure, it was about truth. According to leaked sources, it wasn't a message to say goodbye. It was a confession, a warning, and a desperate attempt to expose the pressure he'd been under.
I learned that things happened here that never should have happened. I take that very seriously, and I want to say I am so sorry to the people who were affected. I know that I'm in a position of privilege and power, and I realize that with that comes responsibility, and I take responsibility for what happens at my show. This is the Ellen DeGeneres Show. I am Ellen DeGeneres. My name is...
Reportedly told his wife, Allison, about things he had seen, things that changed the way he looked at people he once trusted. He mentioned specific names, powerful people, people he never thought he'd be connected to. And one of those names was Ellen DeGeneres. But the written note wasn't the only thing he left behind. There are claims that Twitch also recorded a voice message directly addressed to Ellen. That message has never surfaced publicly. Some say Allison still has it. Others believe it was erased or taken before investigators arrived. Whatever the case, it's gone. Buried. Silenced. The few who've allegedly heard it describe it as devastating. A man finally speaking freely, exposing things he was never allowed to say while alive. Not just about Hollywood, but about betrayal, about fear, about being trapped. And then, almost as suddenly as the rumors began, the conversation stopped. No one in Ellen's camp responded. The media didn't follow up. It was like the whole thing was swept under the rug. Just like that, the narrative became, he was struggling. It was personal. Move on. But if that voicemail truly existed, and if Ellen was named, then the silence speaks louder than anything else ever could. After the dust from Twitch's death began to settle, Ellen DeGeneres did something no one expected. She vanished. No heartfelt tour. No big goodbye. No tribute to the man who had stood beside her through years of controversy. Instead, she slipped out of the public eye and then quietly slipped out of the country. In 2024, just as Diddy's empire began to fall apart under shocking legal allegations, Ellen and her wife Portia sold their Montecito mansion, changed their appearance. Ellen dyed her signature blonde hair dark and moved to rural England. Her reason? Allegedly, the re-election of Donald Trump. But for many, that excuse didn't stick. The timing was just too perfect. Why would someone with Ellen's power and platform disappear at the exact moment federal investigations into Diddy's inner circle were heating up?
Yeah. I could make that. Yeah. But I could think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party though.
No,
it'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
Mm-hmm. And then it will carry on there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Then no, I mean the after party.
Mm-hmm. No, I know about them. I'll listen to the music.
Why the sudden transformation, the sudden distance, the total silence? And let's not forget, Ellen was a regular guest at those infamous parties. The same parties Twitch allegedly warned his wife about. The same events rumored to involve some of the most powerful and untouchable names in entertainment. To fans who were paying attention, this wasn't about politics, it was about self-preservation. Was Ellen running from something? Or was she trying to erase the trail before anyone could follow it? With NDAs signed at Twitch's funeral, a missing voicemail, and Ellen's total media blackout, it's no wonder people started connecting the dots. The woman once hailed as the face of daytime TV kindness had vanished without a word. And when someone with nothing to hide suddenly runs, people start to wonder what they were running from. For years, Diddy's name carried weight: music mogul, businessman, icon. But behind the headlines and luxury lifestyle, another story was unfolding. One that only came to light when it was too late for some, and nearly too late for others. Jamie Foxx was once a fixture at Diddy's parties, lavish, star-studded, and tightly guarded. But in 2023, Foxx suddenly vanished from the public eye. Reports said he was suffering from a mysterious medical complication. No details. No clear answers. Just silence. Months later, Jamie returned with a quiet but pointed message. In his Netflix stand-up special, he cracked a chilling joke about seeing the devil during his near-death experience and wondered aloud, was that puffy? It sounded like humor, but the message underneath was hard to ignore. Not long after, Jamie was attacked at a restaurant in Beverly Hills. Coincidence? Or a warning?
Big parties, like
and here's where the
Puff
dots
was
start
there,
to connect.
and it's all about
Twitch
him.
was
And I'll
also
never
said
forget,
to
he
be at
got
those
mad at
parties.
me a little bit because
He had
I would
access.
follow him, and
He saw what most
I would
people
actually
never
follow him
do.
with a
And
camera,
just like Jamie,
because at that
he
time-
tried to
at that
pull
time,
back.
Puff was the biggest
He tried
guy
to
in the world.
separate
You know, you
himself
couldn't
from
get
that
in his
world.
parties. So
Only
the way I would
Twitch
get in his
didn't get
parties,
a
I'd show
second
up with a
chance.
camera. Like, yo,
A
Puff, you
note,
need document.
a voicemail, a sudden,
What's up,
unexplained
Playboy? I
death,
said, yeah, let me get that.
and
Ain't
the eerie
nobody getting
fact
this. And
that
and it
multiple
wasn't back in the
people
day with
tied
the-
to these circles,
You know, with the camera
Kim
phone, I
Porter,
had the big
Jamie
Canon
Foxx,
that
Twitch,
you put on your
all
shoulder
either
and the
died
light, and I said, let
mysteriously
me change
or
the battery, let me
barely
get all
made it
this.
out alive. It's no longer about isolated incidents. This is a pattern, one that keeps repeating, always involving the same names, the same places, the same silence. And when patterns emerge in Hollywood, someone is usually working hard to cover them up. In Hollywood, image is everything and truth is expendable. Stephen "Twitch" Boss wasn't just a beloved entertainer. He was a symbol of joy, loyalty, and light in a ruthless industry. But behind the scenes, that same industry has a long history of silencing those who know too much or speak too soon. Twitch isn't the only one who vanished under suspicious circumstances. Kim Porter, Diddy's ex, died unexpectedly from pneumonia. Jamie Foxx suffered a mysterious health crisis and later claimed he was nearly poisoned. Cassie came forward with disturbing allegations, only to go silent soon after. The pattern is chilling. And yet, no one at the top ever seems to pay the price. Why? Because Hollywood doesn't just protect its elite, it protects the machine. That's why Twitch's death was wrapped in mystery from day one. The note he left? Locked away. The voicemail? Gone. The funeral? Sealed by NDAs. And the people he may have tried to warn? Silent. The deeper you look, the clearer it becomes. This wasn't just a tragedy, it was a cover-up. The industry eats its own to survive. And if you become a liability, your legacy becomes a footnote, your voice buried beneath layers of PR, legal teams, and carefully constructed lies. Twitch tried to shine a light on what he saw, but Hollywood made sure that light went out. The real question isn't how he died, it's why he felt he couldn't keep living. And the answer may lie in the system that kept him smiling on the outside, while breaking him on the inside. Stephen "Twitch" Boss wasn't just a background character in someone else's story. He was the light in the room, the heartbeat of the show, and for millions of fans, a symbol of authenticity. But the man who seemed to have it all left behind more than heartbreak. He may have left behind a roadmap, one that leads straight into the shadows of an industry that hides more than it reveals. His note didn't read like a farewell. It read like a desperate message, a warning to the people he loved, and a final attempt to speak the truth that so many are afraid to say out loud. The question isn't whether something darker was going on. The question is how far it goes and how many others were forced into silence just like him. Ellen fled the country. Jamie Foxx barely survived. Kim Porter didn't make it. Cassie went quiet. And Diddy? Still walking. Still denying. Still protected. Meanwhile, the voicemail that could have changed everything vanished. No public release. No investigation. No accountability. So, what was Twitch really trying to say? Maybe it wasn't about revenge. Maybe it wasn't even about justice. Maybe it was about truth. And now, we're left with a choice. Keep pretending this is just another Hollywood tragedy, or finally start asking the questions no one else dares to ask. Because if the industry can silence someone like Twitch, how many more voices have already been buried? And if you want to keep digging into the stories Hollywood doesn't want you to hear, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're just getting started, and the truth has a way of surfacing.